Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sarah. Today, we're exploring some gorgeous supplies from our friends at 49 and Market called Serenity. We have an absolutely stunning collection today, and we can start with our set of pattern papers in this 6x8 collection pack. Now, this includes a total of 28 sheets, 3 each of 9 double-sided patterns, plus you'll also have a sheet of cutout elements. Now, as with all 49 and Market papers, and you guys know that I am a pretty huge fan, you have this really lovely soft collage look. You're going to have florals, you'll have butterflies, you'll have all kinds of gorgeous text and faux layers on here. They call it vintage artistry, and I think that is just such a great way to describe these designs. Really beautiful and so easy to use. Now, to go along, we also have a pack of rub-on transfers, and you can see them here. There are 6 sheets, and each of them measures 6 inches by 8 inches. You also get the applicator tool in here too. And here, let's take a look at the variety of designs. Beautiful, again, faux textures, some splotches. You've got some great words and sentiments on here. Again, more beautiful background textures, but also some really sweet and unusual focal elements, butterflies, and of course, their foliage. So easy to use, and again, just absolutely stunning. Now, we also have a set of laser cut elements, and you can see some of the designs on here, but I wanted to also show them to you a little bit more closely. Now, as you can see here, you've got laser cut elements with borders, frames, tickets, all kinds of ephemera. Now, these will punch right out of the background sheet, and you can easily add them onto your projects. Now, last but not least, we also have the postage stamp washi tape. And this is vintage-inspired postage stamps that are perforated on the roll. And you can use these individually, you can use them in groupings, you could use them as a border. Again, so easy to use and a great way to get another bit of dimension on your projects. So I've got some projects to share with you today, and of course some demos too. As you can see, we have a lot to explore, and I'm so glad that you're here. Come play with us. Here's the first card project I want to share with you, and I really love this card shape. It is so easy to make, and I think the effect is something really special. Now, this is using one of my favorite cutting dies. This is the circular step card cutting die, and as you can see, you've got one big metal piece in here. Super simple to use with your favorite die cutting machine and with your pattern papers. So here's the die itself. And all you'll need to do, make sure that you flip this over so the cutting lines are facing your paper. And just take a look. It fits in here just perfectly. So this is one of the papers from the 6x8 collection. Now what I like to do is use some of my Hunky Dory low-tack tape to secure this in place. Just run it through my die cutting machine and I will have my piece all die cut. Now as far as the folding instructions on here, that's pretty simple, easy to follow. Of course, you've got your mountain folds and your valley folds diagrammed here on the back of the packaging, plus some instructions and a fun card project idea. So once you have that die cut, you can see how it folds. This is one I've just got from some plain cardstock. So you've got your mountain folds here, here, and here, and your valley folds in here. So that's your card base, and then you are ready to decorate it. And so what I've done here, I've made my card base from pattern paper, which means that, of course, since the paper is double-sided, I've got something for the front and I've got something different on the inside. And I've just embellished it with a cutout from the paper pack, which is this faux postcard here. Now I've also got some laser cut embellishments. I've got the beautiful botanical image. I've got this button on here and this sentiment as well. Now this element here is a washi tape postage stamp. Now I mounted this onto lightly patterned paper before layering it into this collage. So it's not stuck directly on here, but it's got some light pattern paper behind it to help that image pop. I also have some rub-ons going on here down at the bottom, and that's one of the faux texture splotches. I've got a larger blue splotch here on the inside of the card. So this is a rub-on. This sentiment here is also a rub-on, so it's overlapping. So these two are separate. So yes, you can rub on a transfer on top of another rub-on transfer, which is pretty cool and a really nice way to add some dimension. Then I've got a laser cut frame, which I've snipped apart to create a frame around this sentiment. I've also got a laser cut butterfly and then this little text bit here as well. So the rub-ons are really easy to use, and I want to give a quick demo on this. This is something that I love as a technique. I think it just adds so much texture and dimension to your projects. So I've got, again, one of these beautiful sheets from the 6x8 collection, and I have a butterfly rub-on. Now I've snipped this out from the main sheet, the larger sheet, keeping the liner on here, and that just makes it easier to handle. So I'm going to gently pull the two apart. When I do this, I want to make sure that I'm not touching with my finger or anything else the back of this transfer. It's a little bit sticky and it can transfer where you don't want it to if you're not careful. So I'm going to pop this down right about here and then just gently press that in place. So this isn't going to slide around. That's going to stay in place, which is really nice because it will make it a lot easier for me to do the transferring. Now you have a transfer tool in the pack, and all you need to do is apply some gentle, firm pressure here. And I like to use the angle of this tool to do the rubbing on rather than coming at it from that pointy bit. And you're just going to rub this all over on your transfer piece. And then what I like to do is just grab up a corner of the piece, easier said than done, and gently, slowly pull this back. Now I do it slowly and gently because if I realize there's any area that has not transferred, I can quickly put this back down and continue. So it looks like I've got it all. And there is my beautiful butterfly collage. And you can see how nicely this works on a piece of paper that already has some collaging on it too. It just adds some really nice, easy depth and texture without adding bulk. But you can definitely feel the difference between the paper and the rub-on on here. So that's also nice. Okay, we'll take another quick look back at our card again. So again, rub-ons here, just those splotches on the front, and then some on the inside of the card. Okay, now that we've seen how easy it is to create a simple card with these papers and embellishments, let's look at adding some other elements too. For this card, I've done some simple layering with papers, rub-ons, and laser cut embellishments, and added in some acrylic paint. So my card front is covered with dark blue cardstock from the 6x8 collection, and I added this piece of collage pattern paper on top. Now, because it has such a lovely pattern on it with the text and what looks like a piece of note paper, I really don't have to do much else. But I wanted to give an edge to the paper just to create a little bit more visual space around the outside edges and in between the light and the dark pattern papers. So I'm using some acrylic paint for this, and this is the Desert Sand Dilutions paint. And this is a really easy technique to do and a great one to kind of have on hand. So I'm going to grab a piece of this beautiful pattern paper, and I'm going to just squeeze a little bit of this paint out onto my craft mat. Just a little tiny dollop. Now you can use a sponge applicator for this. You can use your finger. I'm going to use my finger because I've got it with me. I'm first going to wrap a tissue or a cloth, dry cloth around my finger just to keep the mess down a little bit. Dip this into my little puddle and edge along here like so. And I'm kind of scrubbing it along here, and I'm creating quite a thick line going onto that pattern paper. If you don't want it to be quite so bold, you can of course just go along the edge like so. Now, the other nice thing about using your finger for this is that you have a lot more control with this. So it does make it a bit easier to do. But I'll just bring in a piece of white paper so you can see that beautiful edge on there. Now, for drying this, I do recommend to maybe grab an acrylic block if you've got one on hand, and then just pop this on top, and that will make it a lot easier for it to dry without getting paint on everything else. And that won't take very long to dry at all, and then you will be able to use this on your card project. So what I've done here is just glued this down right on top of that beautiful blue pattern paper. And then I also edged on the short sides as well. So you may want to wait until everything is adhered on here and then do that as your final touch. Now also on here, I've got my card focal, which is a large sentiment rub-on, and that's applied right onto the background pattern paper. And I've got a laser cut frame going on here. Now I also have a flower laser cut kind of curving around this as a nice balancing point, and I have a butterfly popped up on foam tape, and that just creates a nice anchor on here and a really pretty accent on this beautiful laser cut frame. For my card inside, I have some more pattern paper, plus I've got the Choose Happiness rub-on here, and a couple of the washi postage stamps. Now, I really want to show you something with the washi postage stamps. Let me grab these here. So, of course, you've got them on the roll, like so, and you can just pull these off. You can tear them off. You can snip them apart with that perforation, however works best for you. And you've got 9 of these designs on here. So let me show you. I've just simply popped them onto some white cardstock here. And you can see how nicely they sort of blend into that white background. Now here's another option for you though. As you'll notice, some have lighter backgrounds than others, which makes it really interesting if you put them on dark pattern paper. So you can see that you've got some real difference in the look of the washi, whether it blends into a lighter colored background or it pops out from a darker shade. So you can go light, you can go dark, you can go anywhere in between, which is really nice. Gives you another option there as well. So that's what I've added on the inside of my card, 2 of these just right onto this lightly patterned background paper, and a third one here just again onto this lightly patterned background paper. So it creates a nice balance between these and of course my rub-on sentiment. Here's another card that incorporates the desert sand paint into the design, this time as a spattering technique. So let me show you what this background paper looks like originally. So you can see it's already got lots of collaging, texture, and some words on here. Then when I splatter it with the desert sand paint, I get something that looks like this. So you can see that splattering effect on here. And because the desert sand works so nicely with the brown tones in the background paper, it really does create a nice soft and additionally distressed effect. Now it's a super easy technique to do. You're going to need your distress splatter brush for this one. As you can see, mine is well loved and well used. And of course also some paint. And I'm going to be using the desert sand once again. A craft mat is going to come in handy for this one too, because that'll help to work as a palette and also to protect your work surface. Okay, so I'm going to bring in just another piece of our pattern paper. We can use the light side, or maybe let's try the darker side. We can see what this will look like. And again, I'm just going to deposit a little bit of the paint onto my craft mat. You don't need a lot, a little dollop of this will do. Grab your distress splatter brush. Now this is a little bit damp. It's not really wet. You can dilute the paint if you want to, but it doesn't really need it for this technique. So I'm going to load up those bristles, and I think you can see that on here. And then holding the brush perpendicular to my surface, I'm just going to pull the bristles like so. Now I can load this up again and add some more. You can kind of move the brush around. You can get a really intense effect or a nice light fine spattering. So this is going to add a really beautiful look to my pattern paper, and of course gives me lots of options for decorating this. So now what I'm going to do is move this out of the way, clean up my craft mat. This is the nice thing about it being so easy to clean up. And then just let this dry until I'm ready to put it to use. So I'm going to bring back in my original card. We can take another look at this. And I think you can see that splattering nicely around here. I've also used the same technique we just looked at with the edging around the outside edges of my card. So once the paint is all dry, I could add my laser cut frame, which is just gorgeous, just right on top. Plus I've got this nice, beautiful floral laser cut image on here. I've got the butterfly, which is popped up on foam tape. Then I've got the One Fine Day sentiment on here. Now this is a rub-on that has been applied onto one of the cutouts from the 6x8 pack. Then at the top right, I've got one of the washi tape postage pieces. Now for my card inside, there's more beautiful pattern paper, more laser cuts with this lace border and also this floral element on here in my sentiment, and then 2 more of those washi tape postage pieces. All right, so my final project that I want to show you is this little mini envelope and gift card holder. Now this is made using the mini envelope and gift card holder die set. So this has 2 dies in it, and this is the one that I'm using here. Now I love this with those 6x8 pattern paper. So let me show you. It just fits on here perfectly. And of course, because the pattern papers are double-sided, you've got your inside and your outside ready to go. So once I run that through my die cutting machine, I can kind of figure, do I want this on the front or do I want this on the front? And all you need to do then is just fold up those edges. Sometimes a bone folder really helps. You can use that too. And then you've got your little mini envelope here that tucks right into that flap. And that's what I've done here. So I've got some jute twine holding this together, but that can just slide right off, and then we can take a closer look. So I've heavily edged the die cut envelope with that paint. When that dried, I added a couple of rub-ons. So I've got the butterfly here, I've got a splotch down here. The Love You is a rub-on applied on top of the butterfly. And then on the back of the envelope is another text rub-on. I've got some jute twine, as I mentioned, that I've just pulled right off there, so that can slip on and off. And then on the inside, I've got another little surprise. Now you can decide to glue this flap so that it stays up. You can also have this just opening like so if you want to. So I've got this little card that I've just trimmed down to fit inside. Again, I've got some more of those laser cut embellishments. I've got another rub-on on here and a little washi tape piece on the back here. Now this means that I can also just tuck a note inside. I can leave it like this. It can also fit a gift card or even a money gift too. So that is our final project for today. A big thank you to our friends at 49 and Market, and a special thank you to you for joining me today. I really hope that you had a great time. Hope you enjoyed seeing all of these various projects and techniques and all the fun things that you can do with the Serenity collection. We're so glad that you're here, and we're just really happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you think. Now, each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. We've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page. You can see everything that I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.